Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni moni wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Today we are coming to you from the beautiful Buttonwood Park Zoo and beautiful New Bedford, Massachusetts. We are so honored and so delighted that you're joining us in our mission to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show, and please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Stitcher Radio, Ghana, Himalaya. Wherever you find your podcast, you can find the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are at the Buttonwood Park Zoo in New Bedford to celebrate episode 1500 of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. What an exciting experience this has been. We debuted the podcast in February of 2017. Since the time, we have published 1,500 episodes. We've had some amazing guests that we've really been honored to share with you. And we have so much more to come in the future. Today, we have two great guests coming to us from the zoo. Ruth Maille will be here to celebrate her The Power of series, and Lyn Dillies will be here to tell us how she created her magical special called Your Vote is Magic. And our interviews today are being conducted by my incredibly talented intern from Emerson College, Mirabella Cue. So without any further delay, take it away, Mirabella.
So today I'm interviewing Ruth Maille, who we just had to do a read-along at the New Bedford Zoo. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, how are you?
Tell me a little bit about your book and why you chose to come do the read-along today.
So my book is a series of books about character traits. It's called The Power of, and I began with the first one, which was The Power of Positivity, the ABCs of a Pandemic, and that was really beneficial for children throughout the pandemic, navigating the uncertainties of it. And then I wrote The Power of Kindness Through the Eyes of Children, and that was inspired by my preschoolers. One day at a snack, we were talking about kindness, and they started giving me examples, and behold, the next thing you knew, I had a book. And then the third one is The Power of Gratitude, Unlocking Hidden Treasures, and that was, I interviewed 100 children for that, and picked it's an ABC book, so I picked the most unique ideas that they gave me, and that is a book that just came out in November, so it's fairly new. And I have a fourth one coming out in September called The Power of Empathy, and it's about emotions and empathy. And I think that the world that we live in right now, we need to teach our children about our emotions and be able to express them and be able to be empathetic towards ourselves and also towards other children and people.
Absolutely. I think that's really, really important. How was it interviewing 100 kids? That sounds like a lot.
It was amazing, though. I learned so much from children, from them. And you know, I think if we just, as adults, we just take the time to listen to them, they have such magic in their brains to share with us. But half the time the world is so fast and we're always go, 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 go. If we could just stop and just listen, because they do have so much to share.
Yes, they have all the real truths, it seems. Yeah,
yes.
And no filter, which is actually good most of the time.
Yes.
So did you used to teach? How did you?
So I have owned and operated my own preschool, in-home family daycare, and I do a preschool with my children.
Oh my God.
So they stay with me from birth, usually all the way to kindergarten, and then they go off to kindergarten. So it's been 32 years of doing that, ever since I had my own children. And I still love it as much as I did the very first day that I started. Over the years, I've learned so much. Not just, the academic part of it, I'm learning, more and more about social emotional learning, which is so important to be teaching in a classroom. But I also learn a lot from the kids every day, and I have children that are 2.5. The other day we were swimming, and a friend of mine was sitting on the deck, and one of my 2.5-year-olds said, "Oh, I think your friend looks a little lonely." and I think I'm going to go sit with her. And that was because we had just been talking about emotions and how did everybody feel, and she recognized even at 2.5. So it's a learned trait that we need to teach our kids, that it's okay to be lonely, to be sad, to be happy, to be excited. All of those things are who we are and what we're made up of, and it's okay to feel those emotions, and it's okay to be empathetic towards other people. So.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I worked with some younger kids previously in like a preschool situation, and I always notice they're a lot more accepting when they're younger.
Yes.
And I think that's totally what you're talking about being empathetic, teaching that love and kindness, because they have it when they're younger and they need to just keep it and expand on it. So you had a lot of material to write those books.
Oh, yes.
Teaching for that long, that's crazy. Yeah, and you get them again young, so you can impart that amazing knowledge onto them.
Yeah.
So how did you like the zoo and the read along? How were the kids and everything?
The kids were very interactive. I loved it. They had great ideas, and they shared where they saw. I read 2 books: The Power of Kindness Through the Eyes of Children, and then the Gratitude book, The Power of Gratitude. And so I interacted with them, and they had some great ideas of where they see kindness in their lives and how they can make a difference. And that truly is how we can make a difference in our lives. And by teaching them, I think it's a rippling effect, right? It's just like you're kind to one person, it makes them feel good, they're kind to other people, and it just keeps going. And I think that's what we need to inspire in our children, and give them that ability to share what they know and love in their hearts. I use the phrase a lot, like, you fill my heart with love, for my kids, and they will in turn use the same phrase when they're feeling happy, and even if they're feeling sad and somebody made them happy, or help them to become happier. So yeah.
Do you have any favorite examples of kindness or gratitude or empathy that someone has shared with you, one of the kids?
In my kindness book, I had a little boy that shared that he loved wiggly worms and saving them from the water because they obviously can't swim. So right, and so that was his quest, was to save all the wiggly worms of the world, and I thought that was really unique. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that, right? Yeah. And my gratitude book, there were so many great examples, like the jack-o'-lantern. One of my little girls said that it's like the life cycle, right? It's you can take a jack-o'-lantern, carve it, and then as it gets older, it starts to rot and it gets a different look on its face. Then you can put it back in the ground, the seeds in the ground, and it starts the whole life cycle all over again. And I thought that was unique and different. So both books have such. I've been told the Power of Kindness has won probably 15 awards.
Wow.
The latest one from Story Monsters was the grand prize, which I'm so proud of, because it was out of all the books, no matter what genre it was, that was entered into the contest. And so it was the grand prize, and I was so honored and humbled by the fact that my book had won that. And the gratitude book is winning some awards as well for the illustrations, for the story itself. So I think all the books that I write are books that will help children to be their best selves, and that's all we want. We don't want them to be anybody else but themselves, and we want to bring out the best in them as they grow.
And they're winning the awards shows how important it is and how vital it is for kids to have books like these.
Exactly.
To inspire them.
And it's books that they can read over and over and over again. And the gratitude book is more towards maybe a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, and up, because it is long. It's got ABCs, but if you digest it, little by little, and that's what a lot of the schools are using for helping with ABCs, but also for teaching gratitude and giving examples. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ruth.
Thank you.
Thank you for reading today. It was lovely.
It was a joy. I love being able to connect with children.
Lovely.
So,
all right.
Thank you.
We're going to be sharing Mirabella's interview with Lyn Dillies, the incredible Lyn Dillies, the author of Your Vote is Magic, in just a moment. But I wanted to let you know one of the things that we did at the beautiful Buttonwood Park Zoo to celebrate episode 1500, that's this episode 1500, is we went and in addition to the story times, we presented our totally interactive magic show. And I always love to hear what people think about the magic show. So I asked Mirabella to speak and get a review from one of the attendees. And this is that review.
So what do you think of Magic Show?
I loved it, and I love magic every day. I watch the magic show on Netflix every day.
Oh, what's the Magic Show on Netflix? I haven't watched that.
There's this boy that has a son named Jackson, and it's like the little box. His head's right here, his body's right here, and his feet's right here.
Okay.
And I don't know his name, but it's not him. And I absolutely love magic, and this is my first magic show I actually went to in person. And my first magic trick I actually done, besides for the fake magic trick that you
you pull
thing.
apart. I remember that one. Yeah. So what do you like about magic? What's your favorite part about the magic?
It's because it's out of this world, and I believe in unicorns and everything, because unicorns are magical, and I believe that every magician was born with magic. They're like out of this world. They're like magical creatures that are related to unicorns.
Do you think Jed Lee's magic? Definitely. Yeah. We saw it, right? Yeah. No, you know what's also magic is being kind and nice, and you believe in that, right? Yeah. Well, what do you like to read?
I like to read Dr. Seuss books and My Spaghetti. It's a book with a monkey that loves spaghetti.
A monkey that loves spaghetti?
No, it's a monkey that loves spaghetti. My favorites are One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and Wacky Wednesday, and all the other books.
All Dr. Seuss. That's awesome. Do you have any other authors you really like?
But I forget their names.
Did you ever read, I think you would love, when I was younger, I loved the fairy books. Do you know the magical fairy? And they're all different colors, and it's the rainbow. Those were my favorite when I was younger. They're so
The
magical.
one that you can feel?
Yeah, exactly.
I have that.
Do you have it? Really? It's such a good book. I still have mine. I still have mine up in my attic.
I want to thank Hope for those very kind words about the magic show. I'm also going to let her know that I'm not really magic. I just learned how to do magic by reading books. And we're going to turn her onto some magic books so she can learn how to do some great magic. Hey, we're looking to do more and more of these live events now that we're coming out of the pandemic mode and we're getting out and about and spending more time together. We would love to come and present a totally interactive magic show in your community. Share some books, maybe share some story times, introduce you to some local authors. If you want to learn how you can make that happen, please go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Parents Click Here button at the top of the page and scroll on down to live events.
Hi, this is Mirabella Cue with the Reading with Your Kids podcast. I am here with Lyn Dillies, who just did an amazing little storytime read at the zoo in New Bedford. Hi, Lyn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So tell me a little bit about what you do, your book, your work, all of that stuff.
Yeah, so I've been an illusionist pretty much my whole life.
So cool.
And I travel all around the country performing at different venues, primarily theaters and so forth. But back in 2008, I had a concept for a public service campaign. It was inspired from my dad, who had such a passion for politics and voting. And I used to help my dad with his, political campaigns and so forth as campaign manager. And my dad had passed in 2005. And the 08 election was coming up. I said, wow, this could be potentially very historic. And I kept, of course, thinking of my dad. And I had a brainstorm for this spectacular illusion that I could do that would basically convey a visual message about the importance of voting. And the more I thought about it, I said, this could be part of something so much bigger. This illusion could be the finale to a big public service campaign to spread the word about voting. And then we would, have a voter rally at the Buttonwood Park Zoo in New Bedford, Massachusetts, where people would attend, and then I would do this incredible illusion, and then that would pave the way for my message to continue. And I thought, I'm going to call this Your Vote is Magic, because I truly believe that's what my dad wholeheartedly believed in, that with the power of our vote, it really is magic.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So that's how it all started.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm very active in politics. In high school, I actually helped run. We had everyone signing up early to vote at 16.
Wow.
So we registered everybody in my school, and we had tables at the lunches. So I think it's so important. I think letting people know how important their voice is the key to getting who you want in government and really propelling that. So what brought you to being an illusionist? Like, I know you said you've done it your whole life, but what like really started that for you?
I was really shy growing up. You know, I was bullied, hated school, the whole bit. And then at 12 years old, there was a TV show called The Magician on that starred the late Bill Bixby. He was an actor portraying the part of this jet-setter magician who would go around using his magic to fight crime.
Ooh.
And the magic was cool, and he was, you know, this handsome kind of cool guy. And I had my dad bring me to a local magic shop in downtown New Bedford called Cheap John's Joke Shop. And they had magic there.
Cheap magic, but
Yeah.
magic.
So he bought me a couple little tricks, you know, and in the trade we call them pocket tricks because you're so little they can fit in your pocket. And I brought them home, and I was very diligent in practicing these tricks, making sure they were perfect. By the way, little FYI offside story, my grandfather was a concert violinist. He taught me how to play the violin.
Oh my God.
And just taught me, of course, that you have to practice to be really good and to not be overconfident ever. So I was so I got to practice these tricks to make sure they're right. Well, when you know, I bring them to school with me. Before I know it, I'm doing these tricks on the school bus, in a classroom, for show and tell, and it was transforming and so empowering. And it helped me, you know, just gain more confidence, and my shyness started to disappear.
That's awesome.
And that's what started things. And I didn't have a lot of money to buy tricks, so I made all of my own, and I tell the story in my show that I would put them inside of a cardboard box, and I'd walk around my neighborhood, and I'd ring my neighbor's doorbell and ask if they wanted to see a show in their living room. So I'd set up on their card table, do my little routine, pack up and move on to the next neighbor's house.
That's amazing. That's so like entrepreneurial and just inspire. I mean, it's amazing to have such a passion for it, and it's also amazing for it to overcome something you face with being shy. And I definitely understand that piece of it. And you find something that you care about, and it propels you to be like, it's fine. I don't care what people think.
Right.
I just want to do my thing that I enjoy. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I just had blinders on from the get-go, and I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I never thought an ounce about, wow, you know, I wonder how difficult this will be, you know, trying to pursue a career in a male-dominated field.
Right,
Never thought
right.
of it.
Yeah.
I just said, no, this is what I'm going to do.
I didn't even think that, like, it doesn't come to my brain that being an illusionist is male-dominated, because it's just so, like, magical almost. You go, oh, right, yeah. It comes to that, too. It's something so different. Still has that looming over you, kind of, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I loved hearing, I had to run back to the table, but I got to listen to a little bit about, you were reading something from your book about suffrage, like the suffrage movement, and that I thought that was really cool, if you want to talk about that at all, or what it means to you.
Yeah, well, you know, again, just thinking back to the fact that it took over 70 years for a woman to finally have the right to vote. Yeah. And that we can't take this precious right for granted ever.
No, definitely not.
And even the sacrifice that, you know, from a veteran's point of view, you know, something that I'm really passionate about is this program that I do in schools now, where I go in with my magic and with a PowerPoint and try to educate them about the importance of voting in their life. The magic, of course, is the visual hook.
Right, right.
But even as part of that assembly, I have a little video segment of veterans on camera talking to the kids about the sacrifice and that what it took, you know, I mean, many, many lives were lost. And in regards to the women's suffrage movement, I mean, some of these women, at one point, there were 33 suffragists that were arrested because they were doing a lot of protesting around the White House.
Oh,
and
sounds familiar.
Yes. So President Wilson, thought they were being disrespectful to him. So they were arrested.
Wow.
They were sent to this horrifying prison in Lorton, Virginia, called the Occoquan Workhouse.
Wow.
and they were basically tortured by the guards.
Yeah.
And the food was worm infested, rats running around. I mean, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
And they were there for a long time. And then finally, the word started to leak out to the press of what was going on. And then that obviously, brought some just attention to their plight and everything.
Right.
And then one thing led to another, and then finally the 19th Amendment was passed in 1920, allowing women the right to vote. But again, you think about just these women that were so incredibly passionate about this, and they never ever gave up. You think in this day and age, if we were faced by that, would we be as passionate? Certainly hope so, but I just admire them so much, and just what it took. We just can't take our eye off the ball.
And it shows how important it is that when you hit a roadblock, especially with protesting or anything, any movement, that you have to keep going because they're stopping you because there's a reason. They know that this movement has something behind it.
Yes.
Woodrow Wilson, if it was whether he was offended or he thought maybe it would lead to some movement, that's how you know to keep going. So that is really inspiring that they pushed through that. Yeah,
it was incredibly inspiring, and they knew they were running the risk of getting arrested and everything.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they were just unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. And then as I was preparing for my Your Vote is Magic mission at this wonderful zoo, trying to prepare for the spectacular illusion of making the two live political mascots appear out of thin air, a donkey and an elephant. I talk about this in my book, that one day I was just driving around doing a bunch of, publicity stuff, errands. There was so much that went into this, it was crazy. But I realized on my drive that just about everywhere I went was a reminder of how the people that we elected to office are responsible for making the decisions that impact our everyday life.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what it is, whether it's, a new school being built, roads being paved, picking up a prescription for a loved one, and then you
Garbage
realize,
collection,
garbage
it's anything.
anything, you just, but again, it's just being aware, opening your eyes,
Yeah.
and to let kids know that their voice matters, their vote matters, every vote really does count, and that they can make a huge difference out there.
Yeah. I love that you go to schools, because I remember my favorite class in high school was my political thought class, which I went into thinking it was just about politics. What we really focused on was philosophy, but then we got into politics in the later half of the year. But our teacher had us do a project on a bunch of the candidates, because it was at the time of the midterms for the 2020 election, and when people were gearing up with their campaigns. And I remember that just shuffled me into a lot of activism and everything. And I love that teacher. I still talk to him, and I think getting kids into politics young is the best thing you can do, because they get to form their own opinions and really explore that. And I think people don't give kids credit. I think my younger brother, he's only 14, and he's very passionate about politics and rights and everything. So I think sometimes adults can be a little, they push kids to the side and say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." I think kids know a lot, and they understand really well. So I think that's amazing that you do that.
I have a lot of faith in the younger generation.
Yeah.
I really, really do. I've seen it, and gives me a lot of hope. They are the future of our world.
That's such a great note to end on. Thank you so much, Lyn.
You're very welcome.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Mika Song. She'll be here to celebrate Pizza My Heart. It's a delightful series of graphic novels full of puns, full of fun. Mika is a wonderful guest. You don't want to miss it. Hey, this has been a real fun episode for me to put together. I want to thank Chris Casey and the folks at the Buttonwood Park Zoo for opening up the zoo to us, for being such gracious hosts, helping us celebrate episode 1500. I want to thank our guests. Of course, I want to thank Ruth Maille. I want to thank Lyn Dillies. I want to thank Jacob Monroe, who came down with his beautiful daughter Sophia to read Fly, 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 Little Birdie. I want to thank the folks, my family members who were there with me at the zoo, my amazing niece Jimena, my beautiful wife. I want to thank the rest of my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Nicole Balcastro, Rain Pan. Of course, I want to give a huge thank you to the interviewer today, the star of the show today, Mirabella Cue. What a great job she did. most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.